All right, good morning, everyone. It is 10:30 already. I don't see our chair or vice chair. Looks like we're a little bit of a small group. I assume people will start trickling in as they come in. Just to kind of review the agenda, it was Dia de los Niños yesterday, so I put a picture here of my niece and nephews. They're in Corpus, so I just get the photos, but I like to look at these pictures and remember why we do this. Um, but we have a pretty full agenda for us today. Um, I'm going to go over the minutes, talk about, potentially having meeting recordings posted on our website, discuss a call for committee members, and then present an update on the Texas Department of Transportation's BPAC. There's a lot of statewide initiatives and some that I think is really important for the RGV to be aware of. And then we'll go over some Safe Streets for All update, an update on the active transportation facility inventory, and then activities during walking and biking month. So really quickly, I'm going to make sure we have, it is 10:31. It looks like we have quorum. Let me see. Let me just make sure real quick. Looks a little, I know we have Chris. I know we have TechStot. I see that we have UTRGV. Um, we have Valley Metro, sorry. I think Richard's here, okay. And then Esteban, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have you yet as a voting member. Um, Maria's here, so far is here. Okay, I'm not sure we are at a quorum. It looks like the rest of us are staff. But what I'll go ahead and do is we can start the presentations. And then Melanie, if you don't mind kind of making sure that track us and let us know when we have quorum. I think to have quorum, we need more than 50%. So we need 9 members. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Alrighty, no worries. What we'll go ahead and do is we'll skip the action items and I'll start with the updates from the Texas Department of Transportation. And then we'll monitor attendance and come back. So skipping all this, here we are. So the first presentation until we have quorum is the Texas Department of Transportation. If you're unaware, I am a member of the statewide BPAC. There's members throughout Texas, and I'm the representative for the RGV. I've been on that committee now for about 5 years, and we meet quarterly. And so it kind of came to my mind that I should be giving you all some updates. Excuse me, about this effort. So two critical items that I'm going to be focusing on today is a presentation, an update that we got on the statewide active transportation plan, and then an update on the district bicycle plan pilots. So the statewide active transportation plan was started development in 2023. We're currently in the spring 24 timeline, and they're currently working with emphasis area work groups, and I'll explain more about this here in a minute. They're going to draft the plan by the summer, and then in the fall or the winter, they're going to go to the Texas Transportation Commission to present. There have been stakeholder meetings, and there will be another public meeting later this year. So we'll keep you updated on that. So something that the active transportation plan is doing, the statewide one, is developing tools to determine improvement needs. And so they're using multiple factors, including safety and risk, community need, health, demand, connectivity. If you do click on this, I'll drop the link. I'm not sure. This will open up the whole handout for the TechStop ones, and they do go into some depth about what these analysis looks like. I didn't put that in our presentation. I wanted to kind of give the big picture overview. But if you are interested in looking at that a little bit more, feel free to do that on your own. Something that I really thought was important for us is to keep an eye on this economic impact analysis. How they forecast the economic impact of active transportation improvements is something that I think we should be interested in, and something that I think we should be able to calculate for future investment, especially for tourism dollars. But the plan itself has this framework of a vision, the goals, actions, and strategies, and I'm excited about performance measures and monitoring progress. So there are performance measures for highway projects and other federal transportation dollars, but bicycle and pedestrian activities and infrastructure haven't really had the best performance measures, or we haven't done a great job of monitoring the performance of our investments. So the state developing those models is going to be beneficial for us as a region. Um, so this is another example here where we're looking at the different goals of the statewide active transportation plan and the action and strategies and the possible emphasis area working group topics. Topics. So talking about ADA compliance, for all ages and abilities, we want to have supportive policies, identify gaps and key destinations for connectivity, potential monitoring of funding, addressing community needs, supporting economic vitality is all part of these strategies and actions. So the working groups here, this is the initial one. I think that they are going to change this. Well, actually, no, maybe they're going to keep these groups, but they have had a couple of meetings. If you're interested in attending, let me know. Again, this is from a statewide perspective, and there are subject matter experts in these emphasis area working groups. So I kind of trust them. But that's the update on the statewide active transportation plan that was given to us in April. And then the next topic here is the district bicycle plans. So
Eva,
we have the
so can
yeah,
I
go ahead.
interrupt for a
Of course.
second before you move on?
Please.
So just to remind everybody, and maybe you can send them the link, the TTAT conference is coming up in September in August. That's sponsored by the Bike Texas and the other entity that I always forget the name of. Anyway, there is going to be a speaker from the state. I don't know who exactly that's going to be in depth delving into that state plan that you just described. And so it's a good opportunity to hear even more, as well as have direct input to whoever that speaker ends up being. It looks like the theme, I'm on the planning team, and it looks like the theme is really shaping up to be centered around large networks, which would be very useful to us in the Valley, because I think we'd all agree the Rio Grande Valley as a whole, it would be a large network. But anyway, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to throw that out.
No, I'm really glad that you did do that. I dropped the link to the conference really quickly. I was a really young planner when Commissioner Gowan, invited city staff to go to this conference, and it was such a motivating conference. The speakers, the information we got, to know that we're not alone in the state and that we're working with our state partners together. So I really do recommend the Texas Trails and Active Transportation Conference. It'd be great if we had a cohort or group go up, because we are one of 4 statewide districts that are part of this pilot project. So what we just went over is the statewide active transportation plan, and they have been piloting these 4 district bicycle plans. But yes, let's all try to go to that conference. I know I'm going to try to get registered, just pending my supervisor's approval. But it'd be great if we could get a group, especially BPAC members, in that conference. But anyways, sorry. So the 4 district bicycle plans, there's FAR was one, and there's 23 districts in Texas altogether, so it is an honor to be selected. It's the basis for future district planning and project development, and we're going to establish methods that other districts can replicate. And I'm really happy with the outcome that the consultants have done. So the plans overall gather existing conditions relating to bicycling on TxDOT highways. They identify bicycling needs, prioritize routes, crossing locations across the district. They refine bicycle tourism trails. That's what BTT stands for, bicycle tourism trails. And then they provide guidance for future projects. What the bike plans will not do is adopt a list of biking projects, right? So they're not going to specify specific design solutions for specific locations. But as far as the schedule goes for the pilot plans, we're well underway. We're in 2024 now, so they're developing those final plans. I haven't seen a draft. I think one's supposed to come our way soon, but they're also developing online story maps. So to go over it a little bit more, some of the plan outputs for the district will have, what's wrong with this location? What are our needs? How should we advance projects to meet those needs? What are our development priorities? Who will use this bikeway and for what kind of trips? That's the bikeway function. Is it for tourism, recreation, exercise, or is it for transportation? And then where will the district plan for long distance bicycling go? And so this is that redefinition of bicycle tourism trails route, and it is related to the USBR, um, uh, the United States Bicycling Route Designation. But using these plan outputs for project decisions, they have project development. Then we're going to look at that road design manual and then make a bikeway design decision. So that's how these outputs are supposed to help our district with development of projects. And so the plan recommendation survey, right? District surveys opened up during the first public meeting period. They collected location specific comments. Thank you for those of you who submitted your comments. I know we had 166 votes. We had 138 written comments. We're not the most populated district, so I think that for me looked really good on our end. We could agree or disagree on plan recommendations, and then the staff reviewed and provided direction on whether to update plan contents. So looking again closer and focusing on our district, this is what has come out for recommended bikeable shoulders. And then you can see like the darker green is supposed to be shared use paths, and that's, I think, in the more urban areas. But then you see bike lanes are very much still prevalent. And then access is controlled, and that's a lot closer to our interstate highway system. Some of the key takeaways was that there was a strong interest in biking if conditions were approved. This again specific to our district. 88% of respondents bike for recreation, only 31% for utilitarian purposes. Key priorities are improving safety and building a connected network. Transportation costs. High share of residents are below 200% of the federal poverty line. And then public health, right? There are local initiatives to promote active transportation to counter disproportionately high rates of obesity and heart disease. So that was highlighted. We do have an emphasis on bicycle tourism trails. We are working with our state partners to hopefully be the first in Texas to designate a USBR route. And then the border dynamics were highlighted as part of the feedback they received. High levels of freight travel create stressful conditions for bicyclists. And it is a transnational community, so there's a high number of daily pedestrian and bicyclist crossing. And then this is just a little bit more, strong preferences for separated facilities. Everything else I kind of covered. And then this is kind of what we're waiting for too, are these online story maps. They are in development for each district. They will contain publicly accessible interactive maps for the bicycle needs analysis, bikeway network functions, priority segments, and again, that tourism trails network. So that's what this story map should look like. They're showing a different district here, but there will be one created for the FAR district, which is really exciting. So if you just joined us a little bit, we kind of started with this presentation because we didn't have a quorum yet. I will open it for discussion now, and then we can go back to our action items after discussion. So are there any questions regarding this statewide, the statewide plans and efforts? Okay, well, I don't hear any questions. I think I'd like to recap here, and I'll drop that link. There is the TTA conference, and for those of you who didn't see it, it is in September. Commissioner Gowan has notified us it is the early bird rates right now. It is in Austin. Again, it's Texas focus, which I think is exciting. There are some other links here that you can see. but I'll put September 4th through 6th. So hopefully we make plans to attend. All right, if there's no other questions or comments, this is a presentation discussion, so no action is required. We'll go back up to our agenda. All right. And then, yeah, thanks, Melanie, for capturing the attendance. Do we have any citizens input or public comments? All right, hearing none, we'll move to item number 4A, discussion action to approve the minutes of March 6th. These minutes were were posted online, and they give a synopsis of our in-person meeting that we had in Weslaco. I think there was a lot of really good conversations, a lot of discussion around the bylaw amendments, and where we landed really was that incorporating geographic equity into the TASA scoring versus BPAC representation. We heard from the GLO on their study. Clarissa gave us a literature review on the design standards and what she's read. So yeah, if there's any other questions on the minutes, happy to take a motion.
Motion to approve.
I second. David Hernandez.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, the motion carries. Okay. Next item is consideration and action to approve the use of meeting recordings in lieu of minutes. So I did do a little bit of homework. Melanie has helped me with the minutes this past month and the month before, and thank you for that. It's a little bit tedious just to kind of go over the recording and make sure that we capture all the notes. We've been doing it for years. It's again, I guess because the workload has gotten a little bit busier at the MPO. We're doing a lot of plans and a lot of activities, and it is really exciting, but we have a lot of projects. So I was reading up on the Office of the Attorney General's Open Meetings Act handbook to make sure that we're in compliance or allowed to kind of post recordings instead of minutes. So they have some definitions on governmental bodies, and I saw like, a joint board created under the transportation code. I went into it. We don't apply to that. So then they get to a section on advisory bodies in the Open Meetings Act handbook, and it says, essentially is not subject to the act. Most advisory committees are not. So, however, if a governmental body that has established an advisory committee routinely adopts or rubber stamps the advisory committee's recommendations, then that committee will probably be considered a governmental body subject to the act. And so thus the fact that just because a committee is called an advisory committee does not necessarily mean it is exempted from the act. So I thought about what we have rubber stamped at the policy board on a regular basis, and I wouldn't say that we have anything routinely, with the exception of the TASA projects for funding and programming, but that happens once every other year. So I do not think we're subject to the act, but just to make sure that we're, kind of following anyway, I did make sure that it is, if we are, we will meet requirements because we shall prepare and keep minutes or make the recording of each open meeting available, and it has to be like publicly available. So I looked into what we currently have, and we use Stream. We do record our meetings. Usually it's just, again, for the production of minutes, and it's kept internally. However, the RGVMPO does have a YouTube page, and we do kind of keep minutes or recording on our agenda, and we could simply link posted meetings to our website through here. So I kind of wanted to talk to you all and see what your thoughts are about from this meeting forward, we just post the meeting recording instead of developing minutes for adoption. So what do y'all think?
I think the recordings are useful. I like listening to recordings more than reading the minutes because I find reading it a bit tedious. And then I also wonder, did the note taker really capture everything that was there? And certainly with recordings, you can capture tone and intonation that you can't capture on a written page. But that's just my 2 cents.
We'll also like to agree on that. You're definitely correct. Sometimes people, mess up on the notes or whatever, whereas the recording will actually give you the actual tone and voice, and then of course the actual content.
Awesome. Well, if you all don't mind or have any opposition, I would appreciate an action. Yeah, I think that I don't hear anyone in opposition to it. It would help us as staff members to proceed with just posting the video online. And I agree. We go back to reference it. But I think sometimes, the content or information that you want to share, and it is hard developing the minutes to make sure we capture enough. But there's a lot of dialogues, there's a lot of conversations, people speak over each other, and so it can be difficult to capture that. But here with the meeting recording, I think we can get a bigger picture. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
So
I
are
motion
you
to
looking
approve.
second?
Thank you, David, and thank you, Commissioner. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And any opposed? All right, the motion carries. Moving on really quickly to item 4C, it's consideration and action to open a 2024 call for committee members. And as you know, I like to give a little bit of a background. So this is what's in our bylaws. Applications will be available to download from the website. They are. Individuals interested in serving shall email their application to the MPO and may be appointed on a rolling basis by the existing voting membership. Members shall be selected to serve a 1-year or 2-year terms. That option is on the application. And then we have a maximum of 17 members, and appointed members may nominate an alternate with full voting privileges. They just must reside or work within the MAB, and they're entitled to 1 vote for each item submitted. And then additionally in our bylaws is information about the executive committee. So elections shall occur on a biannual basis every other year during the first meeting of the fiscal year, October to September. So October 2024 through September 2025. And so I was trying to keep this in mind. And looking at our membership right now, currently we have a lot of people in this like light blue coming off in August of 22. Then in September, 22, 24. And then in September, we have 4 more coming off with 2 more in October. So the last meeting for the term would be July 3rd for all of these in light blue. And then for the next group would be September 4th. That would be the last meeting for the term. So I'm debating, do we do appointments in July or September? Do we do appointments in September or November? Like do we wait for them to become vacant, or do we fill them before, like during the last meeting of the term? So to kind of look at this a different way, terms ending in August of 2024, we have 8. Terms ending in September or October, we have 6. We currently have 2 vacant positions already, and then we have 1 term ending in July of 2025. So I kind of drafted this up, and this is open for discussion, open for revisions. But these are our meetings in bold. And I was thinking if we open a call for committee members today, then we could have round 1 application deadline, June 24th, with round 1 appointments July 3rd. And I think that, it may depend on how many applications we get. But I'm curious to hear your preferences for when we appoint these positions. So I guess kind of my question is, are we only having 2 for the current vacant ones, or are we gonna fill and appoint for those other ones that this is their last meeting? But anyway, we would do 1 round for the first meeting in July, then a second round in September, and then to follow our bylaws, we would have an election at the first meeting of the fiscal year, and that would be our November 6th meeting. That's the first meeting of the fiscal year on that biannual. So I did kind of already tentatively draft a little flyer for a call for members. Hopefully y'all like it, with some details, but also trying to keep it simple. So if you have thoughts, comments about these dates, or if you have questions, I'd really like to discuss this to see what your thoughts are about it. Thanks, Mayor. I saw your thumbs up. What do y'all think? Do we stick with this? I guess just to prepare for the agenda, would we be filling these positions, or, you know? Da, 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 da. I'll just keep it pretty general.
Eva, real quick, remind me what new members we added or what amendments we made?
Yeah, that's a good question. In March, we had a little recap about it. We haven't appointed new members, but we do. Here's the March 2024 presentation, and I think I did a little history, a little recap. So in March of 2020, we had our original bylaws adopted and we made appointments. January 23, the bylaws were amended, and we had a call for membership applications in June of 23. 7 membership applications were reviewed. And then after discussion regarding the applicants, it was decided a review of the membership section is necessary to provide clarity regarding membership position categories. So then we got guidance, we proposed amendments and got approval. And so we're kind of in that round again.
Got it.
The last,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that there was concern brought up about representation from different entities, that it was a little bit more heavy on the Hidalgo County side than Cameron.
Right. And in that March discussion, let me see if I didn't toss it. Yeah, in this March discussion, we did kind of talk about that. I asked some questions, and at the end it was like, and this is captured in the minutes, I guess the decision was in March that the geographic equity was going to happen for the TASA scoring. And it wasn't as important to the members for BPAC meetings. This was based on March's discussion when we met in person. So that's kind of what came out of, changing. So I didn't put anything on the agenda this month for the bylaw amendments because it was for last month, and it kind of leaned more like, I think it mattered more to the members. It came when it came time to funding projects.
Got it.
Yeah. So, and I mean, of course, this is your committee and I work with you all. And if there's something else you'd like to change, what I'm just trying to do is ensure that we have a plan for ensuring that we fill positions in a timely manner. If we go back and we restructure the equity and all that, I think we have a little bit of wiggle room. With the last meeting being in July, we could put something on the agenda for July. If we wanted to work that, we don't have to open the call for members yet until July. But I think the only difference that would make is that we would just have 1 round, and then this would be eliminated because we would be opening up. Essentially, this would come in here. And maybe we would do some bylaw amendments if you wanted to.
Okay. No, that clarifies it. Thanks, Eva.
Okay, cool. So this is another alternative option I'll just put here. Any other thoughts or comments? I mean, really, this is open. This is a safe space. I'm not going to get my feelings hurt at all. I just want to make sure that I'm, prepared and that we're doing things in advance for action.
I always like to hear what you think, Eva. You work with this every day, and we only are working with it periodically. What do you recommend? What does staff recommend?
Yeah, my initial recommendation, right, is to open it now, open the call for committee members now. And I think if you're okay with it, we could essentially have these members vote for their replacements in July, or we wait until they're no longer voting and the existing membership, which would be, here, and then like most of these, well, not the light blue ones, but I think you get it, this one and that one. Anyway, the existing membership would make appointments in September. So I think I made that a little bit more confusing than it needed to be, but yeah, my recommendation is to open the call for committee members, start getting applicants, and then we could kind of see where we land on the number of applications we receive for July. But who we appoint, how many people we appoint, would be the decision of the existing membership.
Hey, Eva, this is Javier. And this is just a, opinion, right? But I think you're right. So, I think the members that are there now, they would have to vote, right? So, because if they expire, then they're off the advisory board, right? So you wouldn't have maybe necessarily a quorum. So I like that. Your
Right.
plan.
I think getting the input too, like people that have been there longest, like maybe you feel better about who you're nominating as a successor to the position. But I also think like hopefully it gives a chance for other communities to come back in. And we have had different local governments participating without voting privileges for a couple of meetings now. I know in person, the city manager for the city of Primera came to join us, and I know we have like Esteban is with McAllen, and McAllen doesn't have a vote. Javier is with Harlingen. So again, I think that this offers the opportunity to get new members, but again, communities working with each other and understanding that the turnover is hopefully healthy for the committee. But if yeah, again, my recommendation would be to follow this timeline, and we'll have sufficient time, I think, to fill all the vacancies.
I agree. I agree with you and with what Javier said. I just had one question. Did I hear you correctly? And I'm sorry I missed the March meeting, but did I hear you correctly that the membership feels it's okay to have more members from Hidalgo County than from Cameron County?
Based on our current bylaws, it doesn't, yeah, there isn't, it's okay to have more members from Cameron County to Hidalgo, and it's okay to have more members from Hidalgo to Cameron, as long as like they are public agencies. And I think it's important to keep in mind that like TxDOT, Valley Metro, LRGVDC are regional entities. So as long as it's a public agency, that's all that's important for the BPAC membership. But I think ensuring that there's turnover, that, everyone gets a chance to be a voting member. And then again, that we make those changes for when the funding comes into play. I think that's the other critical components to this.
Well, personally, I think it should be equitable because and again, I'm sorry I missed that meeting, but if membership is voting on distributing funds, that should be the votes should be delivered or cast equitably as well. But I guess there's
Right.
You also said that there was something said about that. Did I hear you correctly?
Right. What Melanie and I have talked about it. And I think in July we'll start. We, you know, last time we did a call for projects with the $9 million, we went through a cycle of like working group meetings and presentations through BPAC, where we made changes to the scoring criteria and the program guide and the application. So this year we're gonna prepare for a new call, and we will make sure that when it comes to voting for the next 9 million or whatever we have available to be determined, that will have equitable evaluators from across the region. So for BPAC and programming and policies, it's not as important, as long as everyone chimes in and gets a chance to be part of the committee. But for TASA, we do need to look at a way to make it equitable.
Thanks for clarifying.
So if everyone's okay with the tentative schedule, then I think that I'll entertain a motion to approve or to open a call for committee members, and then we'll post this on our website and get the emails out.
If I make a motion to open a call for committee members for 2024.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed,
Aye.
say nay.
Aye.
All right, the motion carries. We already went through our text.bpac, so I'm going to skip ahead. And we have the SS4A presentation discussion on the Safe Streets for All updates. So do you want me to get us started? Okay, cool. Melanie is the lead for SS4A, but yeah, so we have a subcommittee webpage on the RGVMPO website, and you can see here, whenever we do have meetings, we'll be adding them to this section here. Agendas will be posted, and minutes are already posted for the one that we just had 2 days ago. This is currently who the subcommittee is made up of, and we have executed a contract with TGKM, the consulting firm. We have done quarterly reporting to FHWA. They have approved and accepted those. And then we did have a steering committee kickoff again two days ago. You can see here, we do have a little bit of a logo that was produced tentatively for this plan. And there are a lot of deliverables that are in the contract. So we pulled a lot out, but you can see I put in bold a couple that I really wanted to point out. Some of it is just, analysis of existing conditions, obviously the development of an outreach plan, which us as staff review. But I think some of your interest would be there's supposed to be a technical memorandum with a summary of the literature review, the matrix of the top 10 safety projects. So these are already funded program projects, and the evaluation criteria. Then we want to do a list of the top 30 intersections and roadway segments with the highest crash rates. There's a roadway safety assessment report that will be developed for 10 locations, and then a matrix of 20 strategies. They will come up with recommended policies, and a draft and final action plan will be the main product and outcome of this SS4A grant. So that's currently where we're at. We again, we have a contract. Melanie and I have been discussing. We met with FHWA and with finance and LRGVDC, and we're hoping to maybe incorporate some more transit in the scope of work and safety measures. We talked a little bit about safety performance measures for trails or for like bike ped infrastructure. So there's a potential that this contract and the plan overall may be extended by about 3 months. We're ahead of schedule as far as the grant is concerned. So we did clarify that with FHWA. So again, this is part of the deliverables. We didn't share a timeline because that's a work in progress right now at this point, but something we can share with you is that registration is open for the Safe Streets for Texans training. This is put on by Farm and City. They're a statewide safety advocacy group, and they secured a grant for this. They're going to provide food. They'll talk about walk audits. They'll talk about demos on tools, maps, techniques for improving safety. They'll have group activities. It's June 5th, so it's well in advance. You have about a month now, and hopefully my personal goal is to get about 50 of us there, engineers, planners, law enforcement officers. So if you could help us share that registration link, we'll drop the flyer. I'll email it to everybody if we haven't already. And then please make sure you do register. I think it's very valuable, and I think when the state offers a training and they see how engaged our region is, then they pay better attention to our needs because they know that we're paying attention to the work and what's available as resources out there. Anyway, that's basically all I got for SS4A. Melanie, do you want to add anything? I can kind of. Sorry, we share an office, so she didn't want there to be an echo, which there usually is when we're both talking and take ourselves off mic. So again, I think this is good momentum and activities. This is a presentation discussion item, so we don't need any action. But are there any questions about the Safe Streets for All? All right. Well, you guys are being an easy group today. We'll move on to, I think, my final item. This is presentation discussing regarding RGV activities during National Bike Month. So today is May 1st, and it is officially National Walk Month and National Bike Month. Oh, you know what I just realized? I think I put the data portal here. This is supposed to be, okay. I'm laughing because I used the wrong title here. But the agenda item is actually presentation discussion on active transportation facility inventory and regional design portal. So that's on me, but I can do this really quickly. We do have 2 initiatives in our active transportation plan for regional data. And so the facility inventory is for active transportation specifically, and we are currently asking for more data, new data, as part of this annual data collection. So send us your new trails, send us your planned projects, let us know what you have going on, and we will try to incorporate that into our map. One thing we are doing is adding transit data, and in the future, we would like to add more proposed routes and future and the transit projects that are funded through 5310 program. So these are some things that we have planned for 2024. We have a UMAP. You can see here there's a lot of data, and this might be an old version. Alma regularly updates this for us at the MPO. But our active transportation map is here. This is where we're like, I need you to review, make sure that if you have new infrastructure that we're capturing that in our data set. We do have a web page dedicated on how you could make edits or submit new routes. And then regarding the transit data, just as a reminder, there's a 5-year regional public transportation coordination plan. It's the RPTCP. Chapter 7 highlights the vision, mission, goals, and objectives. And goal number 2 is to provide increased transit alternatives to people in the region. The objective number 3 specifically states that the MPO will develop a regional map identifying sidewalks, hike and bike trails, bike lanes, bus routes, bus stops, and bus shelters. So we did do an analysis of our existing data. We did get some feedback on what potential improvements we could make from the Regional Transit Advisory Panel. And then recently we offered a transit data mapping training, and this is a clickable link. Once I post it on the website, I can also share it here. But essentially, this is what our transit data looks like right now. Oh, you did share it. Thank you. Melanie's already shared it. So when you open this, you'll be able to see McAllen metros, Brownsville metros, Island metros, and Valley metros. Infrastructure, also UTRGV's infrastructure. So this is what we're currently looking to edit, and you can kind of see here through the attributes table. Oh no, I'm drawing. That's what I get. Okay, I'll fix that later. But we reviewed basic map features, we reviewed data editing tools, how to edit points and lines, how to add new features, and how to edit these attributes tables. So you can kind of see there's some blank info here and there. But the training was to help teach the transit staff how to edit and add that new data so we have a more comprehensive data set with information that people are looking to easily access, like whether there's shade or hours of operation. But again, we kind of, the definition is our goal that came out of the plan, the regional plan. We did that survey for feedback on desired improvements. We analyzed existing data. We're implementing these solutions. And so our next step will be to analyze the assessment results for gaps with respect to our goals for, if they're user-friendly or if they're helpful from a planning perspective. So are there any questions on this? This is just a presentation and an update, and no action is required.
I have a question. So that's terrific. Of all of that data, of course, very useful, but it all looks very technical and almost, cold in terms of if I was a tourist, not from here. I'm not sure it would look very inviting. Is there software that exists that we could take that data that you so nicely did and make it look more inviting for the purpose of active tourism? Like let's say in Brownsville, there's a particular trail that we know is, super cool, super visited. There's a lot of birds there, whatever. And the city wants to market that particular trail to birders or to senior citizens that are winter visitors. Is there a complementary software? And you don't have to have an answer now, but I'm thinking ahead that we could take the data that you've collected and turn the map into something more inviting.
Yes, there is, and you have to forgive me because I'm not as familiar, and Claudia, help me out if you know, or Stacy. I think it's called Ride Systems, but there's some technology that is for trip planning for the end user. I think that we need to figure out how to do that. So Claudia, I don't know if you can help me out a little bit with what you
Yes, all they have to do will be to download the application once you either of our websites, which all of them have it. It could be the Valley Metro, the Island Metro, Brownsville Metro, Metro McAllen. They have it as well. So they would need to download that application and they can follow the bus and see the routes.
Okay, so maybe that could be entertained as a future workshop for people, cities that might be interested in, because I always think, as a tourist, I want to look at a map that's very inviting. It will engage me more in exploring, but then I hate to ask staff to recreate a whole nother map. So if there was a way to interact with a portal like that to create maps that look and different for different audiences, that might be something for the future that we might entertain.
Also, I would like to add, later on, we're hoping all of the transit agencies to also add it to Google. A lot of our patrons are very familiar with Google. All they have to do is maybe put the address and they can tell them which route can take them there. It can help as well for more visualize what's in the area as well. So that's something that we're working on.
Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is our first attempt at standardizing the data across the region. And that hopefully will help provide increased transit alternatives to the people in the region once they kind of follow or have the same information for different agencies, so that I feel comfortable going from a Brownsville Metro bus to a Valley Metro bus, and then maybe even playing with McAllen Metro system more friendly. So it was recommended by the Technical Advisory Committee recently to consider incorporating story maps. Right, that's for existing infrastructure for the trails, and I'll talk about that in the next item a little bit. But I think, yeah, definitely being more mindful of this tourism friendly component. I think, that's going to take a little bit of feedback. For me, I start thinking, who could we work with? What partners would be there? And then, how do we get it out and so for me, like from the tourist perspective, I think about working with CVBs and the hospitality groups. But I think once we're there, once we have better maps, once we have better information, once it's user friendly, that would help change the ridership. But anyway, I think that's great conversation. Anybody else have any feedback before we go on?
Hey, I'll add on to that about the tourist-friendly maps. I know our organization, Valley Off-Road, we developed 2 maps for trail systems that we either steward or have helped built in either the Harlingen Arroyo Trails and Sullivan, and we've got some others that are in the works. But I know a lot of mountain bikers that are not from our community that travel in, you know, from up north or other parts. They use an app called Trail Forks. So maybe coordinating efforts with our organization as well as local, you know, CDBs, municipalities, get them aware of how to get their trail maps on that system, I think is very helpful because it helps people find trails that are within our community.
Great.
Yeah, sorry, Commissioner. Yeah. What I'll have to get with you, David. I think you and I are overdue a little bit. I'd love to promote the maps that you all help produce already, even though they're mountain biking. It'd be good to look at them as an example. And then, yeah, just to kind of talk to you more about this app and what helps people access existing trails overall. What Clarissa's talking about, this online story maps. You know, it's supposed to be a user-friendly way to kind of follow and look at existing infrastructure. But I think overall we could do better at promoting and creating materials for our infrastructure investments. Any other comments? I mean, we have plenty of time, so I think we kind of have a good handle on it. But I'll reach out to you, David, and we'll connect.
Sounds good.
But thanks. So item number 4G is presentation and discussion regarding the RGV activities during National Walk and Bike Month. These are initiatives under education and awareness. Is to promote this, have events, and eventually collect some data. You can see one is short term, one is medium term. And I think for media awareness campaigns, this goes into like this user-friendly, tourism-friendly discussion about creating maps that are accessible for people that are not familiar with the region. But we'll get to that. So a lot of resources are available for all of you, for you as an agency or as an organization. The League of American Bicyclists has banners. I plan on using one in my signature starting today to kind of promote that. I do also plan on biking to work May 13th through 19th. Send me your photos if you do it. Early voting just ended, but I love this bike to vote. We still have what is it called? Election days on May 4th. But every Saturday there's a farmer's market in my community. I think bike to barbecue is very Texas. And so just kind of seeing these hashtags, seeing these efforts, these photos, kind of capturing it for the region would be really fun. Maybe we could do in the future, it's a little late, but a hashtag RGV bike days or something. But here's some other ideas, having a bike ride, open streets events. I'm going to talk about Brownsville Cyclovia in a little bit. Ride with the mayor, bike to the movies. That's something you could just do with like your best friend or your partner as a cute little date. Oh, I love this. Thank you, David. Yeah, drop your events if you're hosting any in May. Bike to school day. I haven't heard of any schools, and next year I'd love to get ahead of it and work closer with schools because I love the idea of a bike bus. But there's graduation parades, and then bicycle themed parties I think is fun, or even just highlighting the benefits of cycling is a simple way to promote that. Great. So there's a sample bike month proclamation if your community is interested in putting this forward in May. There's also a bike month bingo. I think this is cute. Biked at least 10 miles in one day, encouraged a friend to start riding, rode to school or work. I could easily feel like I could do this row in 1 month, without question. So, if that's something that looks fun to you, I encourage you to look at the resources. All of these are clickable and I'll share. We'll be posting them online today. If you do know people at a school that's walkable or bikeable or has a really great principal that is encouraging, there are walk, bike, and roll to school resources. That's May 8th. You can plan an event, you can register an event, and then they have like customizable flyers, stickers and puzzles, certificates or punch cards. So I think there's a lot of things that we could be better utilizing to promote walking or biking month. But I know Brownsville is having their groundbreaking ceremony May 7th. They're having their open streets event on oh, I got the wrong flyer. This is their old one. That's on me. But there's a new flyer for May 24th, if I'm not mistaken, right, Chris? I don't know if you have it. I just realized I put the wrong one up. Okay, I can't hear anybody. No worries. I'll find the right flyer and I'll correct it. FAR is having a swim, bike, and run and obstacle course. This is already this Saturday. I know David said he has one this Saturday. There's a mountain biking race in Doolittle. Doolittle's in Harlingen. That's May 26th. And they're doing a spring membership drive as well. No worries, Chris. Okay, great. Chris will share the Brownsville Flyers soon. But I was looking, I follow the McAllen Critical Mass group. Critical Mass is like supposed to be the last Friday of every month. But it looks like they're gonna plan, this is just from this morning, so it looks like they're gonna plan a little bit of a ride for this child who was riding his bike and there was a fatality. They're gonna go and they're pay their condolences. But at the end of the month, the last Friday of the month, a big group of people in McAllen get together and they ride every single last Friday of the month. Oh, Doolittle's in Edinburgh. Okay, thank you. It's not. I don't know why I thought it was in Harlingen. But yeah, these are just some of the activities that I know are going on. I'm sure there's a lot more. I'll be sure to add a slide before we post this on our website, or you know what? Actually, let me just kind of put this in the discussion. But this is what Chris shared. This is what David shared. Any other activities that we should be aware of? Oh, there's a social ride in Harlingen. Awesome. And Women's Mountain Biking Day. Awesome. Well, I want to see photos, y'all. Hopefully that'll be really exciting and we could use them for our promotional and tourism things. Great. Thanks, David. Yeah, anything you share with us, we'll definitely be pushing them out on our social media and on our website. So let us help you encourage the public with your activities. Any other discussion for this item?
Eva, I just want to make a comment or maybe bring this up. I mean, Salem is a small community, and really the people that ride bikes is really to commute around the community. So I know that sometimes they're not wearing the proper gear where they're out there on their bikes. So I'm thinking me here in our city, thinking of safety, listening to that, accident with this child. So I'm thinking that as a city, I know that we probably have about, I would say 10, 15 people here in our community that use their bikes and maybe they're not wearing what they're supposed to when they're riding their bikes. So I'm thinking, as a community, as a city, what can we do for these community members that are commuting in their bikes and they're probably not wearing, like, I don't know, a helmet, or, they have to wear something that's fluorescent, right? Or even those, don't they have like a light that they have to, like a blinker or a reflector? Maybe us, me, I'm thinking what I can do to prevent, accidents. Maybe have our police officers, as they see these people, instead of citing them or whatever, giving them an item that they must have. Maybe
Definitely.
a reflector, or what would you recommend? And I know, because this is, I'm trying to think of the month of May. How is it that we can prevent, thinking of safety, right? But then at the same time, having these community members or community in their bikes at all times of the day.
Yeah, we did a traffic safety grant a couple of years back where we got some lights and we got some helmets that we were able to distribute. Unfortunately, that grant ended and we gave all of the materials that we had away. I think that if you do have a budget for safety, and we may want to work with TxDOT, I'm looking for Augustine if he's on. Say, TxDOT does have a safety program, and sometimes these are eligible expenses, or sometimes they have materials for distribution. So maybe your PD department has a little bit of a budget for it, but if you work with Bike Texas, they will work with you on getting you a good deal for like bulk orders, right? Like if you buy one product, it's $9, but if you buy like 100 or 200, they come out to like $5. So there's like significant discounts when you buy in bulk for distribution. But there are also safety grants. So TxDOT safety e-grants, safety campaigns. I think one of these.
So
So thank you. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought you were done. Bike Texas would know of freebies, different organizations that have freebies that you might be able to benefit from. There is, or at least there seems to me that we got quite a few free little doodads from the safety division of TxDOT back in the day when we were first doing ciclovias. In fact, the woman that used to be in charge of that was originally from Brownsville. But then there's also things like the Texas Medical Association, the Department of Pediatrics. They generally will give you bike helmets to give away to children. I don't exactly know which division to contact, but if you look up the Texas Pediatric Association, look at the Texas Medical Association website, and it's probably somewhere on that website. But I know we've gotten free helmets from via the Pediatric Association in the past as well for children.
Thank you for sharing, and I will reach out to TxDOT and see. I'm just thinking, how is it that we can? I know that right now as we're going, we're working on a project, and me visual in my community, I see every street with a bike lane. That's like my dream, right? Because I believe that people should ride bikes more than ride their car to go get tortillas or their barbacoa or something on Sunday morning. It's an exercise, and at the same time, it's a very frugal way of living, right? But I'm just thinking, because our community is a small community, but then I'm thinking safety always, and I'm worried about these people that could be, having an accident where they could have been wearing something so inexpensive, and it could have saved their lives. So just thank you so much for all the feedback. I will follow up with all this information. Thank you.
No, thanks for that question. It's good to know, what our communities are interested in and see what we could help. Really quickly here, we have that Safe Streets for All Texans coming in June, and they are statewide partners. They may have some funding available. So we'll be sure to see what we can do and work out, and just keep us posted, Mayor. If you are able to successfully get that, hopefully we can get the resources for your community. I think it's a great way to engage the public and help them kind of realize, you're not in trouble. We just want to help you be safe. So anyways, definitely great discussion.
Hey,
And
Emma,
then, go ahead.
I'll add on to that conversation. I know recently I did a presentation to Texas Parks and Wildlife in regards to bicycle safety, and a lot of the materials that I got were from TxDOT, from their Texas Bicycle Safety webpage, and they've got a really good flyer and a pamphlet that they send out that just goes over just some basics that the community can learn from and get educated around. Things like wearing a helmet, and how to ride the bike. You're not riding against traffic and things of that nature. So they're definitely a great resource. And I was going to mention, we do have some limited bandwidth, you know, our organization to do some of that type of outreach. I know there's been a request for us to do kind of like bike clinics, just to teach people basics on basically how to ride a bike, you know, whether on trails or on the streets. So, you know, don't hesitate to reach out to us, or definitely, as you mentioned, TxDOT.
You know, you bring up a great point. I know the League of American Bicyclists has like a cyclist instructor training, and it's been a minute, right, Commissioner, since we've looked at that, but we may want to look at that and see if we could, I think they're called LCI
Yes.
trainings.
Yeah, that would be useful, because then if you have one of those certifications, which I don't think it's that hard to get, you can conduct bike rodeos officially, and you get, you know, that works well. Otherwise, if you don't have that certification, I don't believe your bike rodeo is certified or recognized.
Yeah, I may want to coordinate that. Claudia, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, those videos that they were referring to, would it be possible to add them to the site on the BPAC, just as a reference for parents or even for children to watch those videos on safety?
Yeah, I definitely think so. We could definitely put that under like safety resources. Yeah, I'll have to look a little bit deeper into it, but maybe we can get an update on that by July. I think we could definitely work on something by the July meeting. And then yeah, we'll reach out to a couple of partners if we could coordinate maybe an LCI training with the league. But we'll play with these ideas, posting the safety resources online, maybe soliciting or requesting some additional safety materials, and then potentially offering the public training or getting some of us trained to help, you know, organizations like Borba in helping train the general public. So all really great ideas, and I think on point for encouraging and educating our public for safe cycling and walking. Any final thoughts on this discussion? I appreciate everybody chiming in. Okay, hearing none. We do have project updates. If anyone wants to give an update on their projects, I will just say TASA and CRP, which is I should spell it out, Carbon Reduction Program. Updates are going to go to TAC and policy in May. So this month, I will be giving updates to our technical advisory committee. Thank you, Commissioner. I will be giving updates to our technical advisory committee and our policy board in May on how the projects are doing. The city of Harlingen and the city of Elsa did receive an additional $35,000 in funding for their planning projects from the 21-22 call for projects. But all that to say, you know, they're moving along. I could probably do a better update by the July meeting. So any questions or any comments on, you saw Brownsville's having a groundbreaking ceremony. I think the city of FAR, Maria, correct me if I'm wrong, are you like breaking ground soon on one of the projects? I could be getting my communities mixed up.
On phase 2 of the sidewalk project, we're getting ready to re-advertise this month, later this month. We'll open bids May 30th, I believe. Yes, May 30th for the PSJA Tri-City Pedestrian Safety Improvements Project Phase 2.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Awesome. Any other project updates? If not, we can go ahead. Was that you have yet? I'm sorry.
Hey, Eva, yeah, I was just gonna make a comment. So on, I did notice that you had the Viva Streets. I wasn't really paying attention or listening, right? But you did cover it, right? That we are having Viva Streets this Friday, at Lansing Hill Park on Fair Park.
No, do you have a flyer? Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the flyer I sent you. Yeah, I got you.
Perfect.
All right, appreciate it. There you go. Yeah, the one on the left.
Okay.
That's just Friday.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. That's Viva Streets. I got it. I see it now.
Yeah.
I was just thinking it was like a first Friday or like a fun event, but that's exciting. Okay. Yeah,
Yes. so
David got
that's-
you
that's-
covered.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Eva,
appreciate it,
I
David.
do have an update. I do have an update
Okay.
also in relation to Harlingen. We're in phase 2 of, we're in the design phase for the asphalt pump track that we're building at Harlingen Arroyo Park. That is with a contractor named American Ramp Company. They're a subcontractor for Velo Solutions. And if you know Velo Solution tracks, they build them around the world. They end up being kind of hubs in the community for, you know, for bikes and a
Yeah.
variety of different types of equipment that people can ride on them. So we're really excited. This is going to be the first asphalt pump track south of San Antonio. And I guarantee you, once we
amazing.
get it built, everybody's going to want one. So we're excited. We should have a design scoped out to be able to share with the public in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned.
Yeah, send us some photos of that too. I think that's really exciting. Like to your point, I remember Brownsville talking about a pump track 10 years ago at the sports park. It never obviously didn't come to fruition. So knowing that it's just kind of been in the air for a while, kudos to you and kudos to the Harlingen team for getting that asphalt in the ground. And let us know if you're gonna have a celebration so that we could be there to you know acknowledge that. Thanks for that update. Anyone else?
Hey,
Yeah,
one more
hey there,
thing.
it's Johnny.
Go ahead.
Oh, wait. Yeah, City
Go
of
ahead.
Brownsville, Johnny. I got a few updates for you. So we'll start with the Western Trail amenities. We did finally receive the 30% from TxDOT. Our consultant, Tetsi, is actually working on the review, so we should be expecting a 60% here in the coming weeks. We'll be bouncing that to TxDOT. Southmost Nature Trail Phase 4. I'm not sure if you know, I'm pretty sure you know, but the AFA was officially executed. We had the official kickoff meeting with TxDOT earlier this morning. We should be expecting the 30% here within a couple of weeks. I believe 3 to 4 weeks. We should have the 30%. We expect no issues there. Everything seems to be going pretty good. Straightforward project. And of course, Brownsville Los Fresnos. Yes, we do have that groundbreaking event next week. So if anybody wants to join us, we'll be out there. We'll be happy to have you. Eva's going to be a speaker there. So if you want to see Eva speak, please come and support. And we're just finalizing some construction document or pre-construction documents like Form 2802 and some of the Davis-Bacon stuff. But for TxDOT review, as soon as we have that stuff, we'll essentially be ready to go for construction.
Awesome. A lot of progress on your projects. Congratulations. I know it is not an easy lift. So really kudos to the team and TxDOT for helping us get to where we are. Javier, did you want to give us an update as well? Sorry.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let you all know we just completed the construction of a trail. It's about 1.1 miles at Lansing Hill. That was done with our labor force in-house. And so we're also it's going to be lit, right? So we're going to put some solar lighting on it. That's what we're working on right now with our staff. But we're trying to complete this thing in maybe in the next 2 weeks. City management and commission want to do a ribbon cutting for it. So I'll let y'all know.
That is awesome. Congratulations on that as well. Knowing that you did it in-house, to me, is an example of your commitment to helping to develop infrastructure and, you know, close those gaps. Congrats. Anyone else? Well, okay, no worries. We'll be meeting again in July. Is there any new or unfinished business, anything you'd like us to work on for July? I think we did get some feedback today on what we could potentially bring forward in July, but if anyone else has new or unfinished business, I'll give you a minute here to consider that. Oh, hearing none. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I motion to adjourn.
Thanks, David. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you,
Metro.
Claudia. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Stay on the line. I'm just kidding. But that adjourns our meeting. It is 11:45 p.m. I'll just go, AM. I hope you all enjoy your day. Feel free to reach out if you need anything, but have a good one and happy Bike Month. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Eva.
Bye,
everybody.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.